Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little Slaw YouTube channel. So, in our previous video, we saw about how to use the thread group. So, the normal thread group which comes with JMeter. And today, in this video, we are going to see about how to use this arrivals thread group. And this is again an answer to most of our subscribers and the viewers who have a confusion on how to use the thread groups effectively in JMeter. And in fact, when comparing with any other tools, JMeter has a lot of flexibility in terms of giving options to us for executing the load test or any other tests that we need to run as part of our performance testing. So in this video, we will see about the arrivals thread group. And before we move on to the video, this is me, Yavasan Shanmugam. I welcome you all to our Little Slow YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed it yet. Like and share the video with your friends and colleagues. So now let's see what is the arrivals thread group. So the JMeter arrivals thread group element is designed specifically for scenarios where the number of orders to be submitted within a defined time frame which we know in advance. So if we know what is the number of orders that we're going to submit within a defined time frame, say for example, if a website is selling 2000 orders daily, or if a movie ticket booking application like Ticket New is booking 1000 tickets every hour. This arrival thread group becomes particularly useful in these scenarios because, as I have already told you, we know the number of orders that has to be submitted within the defined time frame. That is, for example, in this case, 1 hour. So we're going to sell 2000 orders in 1 hour, or we're going to sell 1000 tickets every hour. So in these cases, the emphasis is on the quantity of orders rather than the number of users. So here you can see we do not find any options to give the number of users. But on the other case, if you see the thread group here, if you can see, we can give the number of users, the loop count, or even the duration of the test. But here, if you see, we do not have any option to give the number of users. Rather, we have option only to give the throughput, that is the arrivals rate for every minute. So understanding the arrival rate is very crucial because that is the only term that is going to control our throughput, or the number of hits or the number of requests that we're going to send to the server. So the term arrivals rate refers to the rate of iteration or the order submissions. For example, if 10 licenses are purchased in a minute, it means 10 iterations must be initiated. Say for example, like 10 iterations must be initiated and completed within that minute. And this results in an arrival rate of 10 per minute. Similarly, if 1000 movie tickets, say for example, if you want to give like 1000 movie tickets, and if you can clearly see here like how many hits is going to be. So for example, if I'm just making 8, and let me just make it to 5 or 4 points, sorry, it doesn't allow decimals, it's just going to be like 4 or 5. So if I'm giving 5 hits per minute, it will in turn take it to, like, at the end of the test we will be achieving 1000. Okay, let me just change this to 1 hour. So now we can see we're going to achieve, if we're going to achieve 10 hits per minute, then we're going to achieve 1000 total arrivals at the end of the test. Let me change the ramp up time to just 6 minutes. So now we can see the total test is going to be running for 1 hour and 6 minutes. And let me change this to 15. Okay, let me just 16. Yeah, now we can achieve approximately 1024 arrivals. So you can clearly see that you have to understand the arrival rate. That's very crucial here. So once you understand the arrival rate, you can easily adjust it so that you can achieve your expected hits, or the expected number of throughput, or the number of requests that you want to send to the server. So it's important to note that in scenarios mentioned above, like the booking of the tickets or purchasing the licenses or whatever, any online applications that you're going to sell. The focus is on controlling the arrival rate rather than the number of users, because we do not have any options, right? We don't have any options to control the number of users, but we have an option to control the arrival rate. So the arrival rate can be managed by one or multiple threads, and if the arrival rate is excessively high, you have the option to limit the number of threads, right? So if you want to limit the number of threads, for example, you can change it to 10, so that you can achieve 640 total arrivals. And if you want to achieve like 20 hits per minute, so it automatically increases to 1280 total arrivals. And also you can even control the duration. Say for example, if you want to run it for 75 minutes, automatically the hits has approximately increased. So as I have already told you, the feature of the arrival thread group is that it gracefully stops all active threads at the end of the test. Here you can see at the end of the test, we do not have any ramp down, but this active thread group will gracefully stop all the active threads at the end of the test. This means that all threads complete their iterations before exiting the test environment. So now we will see the next part of it, and before that, let's see how to install this thread group, this arrival thread group, because this does not come along with the JMeter. And here is the arrivals thread group. So this is the link, the JMeter plugins.org wiki arrivals thread group. So once we download this file here, so once you download it by using this link and then by unzipping it, so once you unzip it, then we will have to go to the library folder and then paste the jar file. The same way, we'll have to go to the ext under the lib, then we have to paste the other folders. So by doing this, and after restarting the JMeter, we can automatically get this particular plugin, or in fact you can even go to the plugins manager and search for the arrivals thread group. So now since it's already installed, we can get this here, the part of the custom thread group. So you can see here the arrivals thread group is part of the custom thread groups. So this is the way we can install the arrivals thread group. So now we'll see how to configure the thread group, and also we'll see the differences between the thread group and the arrivals thread group. So here if you see in the thread group, the normal thread group, which we saw in our previous video, we can control the number of threads, we can control the ramp up period. Yes, we have an option to control the ramp up, but it's in a different manner. So here you can see the ramp up period is in seconds, but here for the arrivals thread group we have the ramp up time in the minutes, but I think we can even change it to seconds. Yes, we can change it, but still when we are giving it in minutes, there is another option that we have which we do not have in the thread group, which is the ramp up step count. So for example, I have 20 users here and I'm ramping them up in 6 minutes, and for like again I made it to 3 steps, which means for every 3 minutes you can see there is like close to 7 users, and then 13 users, and then it is like 20 users at the third minute. So the first minute, the initial second, we have got around like 6 users, and then after 1 minute we have got around 13 users, and then finally we have got around 20 users, which because we have increased the ramp up time. Say for example, if I want to make it to 4, but I haven't made any changes to the ramp up minutes, but I have changed the ramp up steps count to 4. So this will divide the users. So previously we had 6, 13 and 20. Now we have like 5, 10, 15 and 20. So same way we can use this ramp up steps count. So what else we have? We have the infinite, or the number of iterations here, but here this part is the critical one, because this one has the complete control on the arrival state. So you do not want to worry about the infinite or giving the specify thread lifetime or like the total duration or the startup time. And there is one more thing here. The thread group has the control on the cache part, which is the same user on each iteration, but this is not being controlled anywhere here because we do not have any control on the cache part. So that's one limitation I would say when it comes to the arrival thread group. And then we have the options for the thread iterations limit, We can even do the log thread status into the file in case if you want to control it. Then we have the concurrency limit as well. So these are some of the additional options we have when compared to the thread group. And yes, so I think these are the other part. So now let's see with few examples so that I can explain you how well we can effectively use this particular thread group. Okay, let's take an example. So you have an e-commerce website which receives 500 order for every hour and you have to evenly distribute it. So each order is placed by unique user and there is an expected concurrency rate of 20 users at any given time. So to simulate this scenario in JMeter for a 1 hour test duration, you would configure the arrivals thread group with an arrival rate of 500 orders per hour. That is 8.3. Let's make it as 8 with a concurrency of 20 users. You would set the number of threads accordingly to ensure that the expected concurrency is maintained through the 1 hour test. Let's say, for example, if I want to change it, like if I want to achieve an approximate of 500 orders, let me change it to 60. So now you can see the test is going to be for 60 minutes, which is like 1 hour, and then the arrival thread groups, which I have already told you, which is going to be like 8.3 approximately, which is going to be like 8 target rate, which is like 8 arrivals per minute. So this has clearly given us the expected rate. So as I have told you, if I want to receive 500 orders every hour, I can achieve it through 8 arrivals per minute. And in fact, I always give a ramp up time. I do not want to kill the machine, kill the system with the unusual hits. So I normally use this ramp up time to give the system a breathing space. And also I want to emulate the scenario like a real-time scenario. So that's the best practice which I always do. So by controlling only these four arguments like the target rate, the ramp up time, the ramp up steps count, and the whole target rate, you can easily achieve your target rate. And also you can add any number of thread groups. Say for example, if you have like multiple scripts and you can add each of these scripts inside the each thread groups and then you can run it. And apart from that, you have options to add any samplers, any logic controllers, any preprocessors, everything inside your arrivals thread group. And this thread group will do what we expect. So apart from this, the arrivals thread group is primarily designed for simulating scenarios. As I already told you, the focus is on controlling the arrival rate, as we see here, of transactions rather than generating high load or stress on the system. So this clearly tells that we cannot use this for stress testing, but we can try it in other way. Say for example, you can make it like 100 requests per minute and you can do the ramp up time for 60 minutes and you can change the count to like 10, or you can even make it to like 50 or even 60, so that for every minute you can see you'll get the number of arrivals, like it keeps on increasing, and you can even hold the test for like 60 minutes. So by doing this, again, they say we cannot achieve, but if you plan in a perfect manner, you can even plan, like for example, you can even uh, increase the arrival rate to like 500 per minute, which means you can achieve these stress tests by this way. Like for example, at the end of like 1 hour, or by the end of 1 hour, you can see you would have achieved around, so like say for example, for the end, at the end of the 2 hours, like the ramp up minute and then the hold rate, so by the end of the 2 hour you would have achieved 45,000 hits. But even you can do like this way, you can change the hold rate to 0, so that by the end of the 1 hour you can achieve 15,250 hits. And if you really want to increase it, you're always welcome to do it. So by doing this, you can achieve an expected rate of 30,500. So it's nothing is impossible with JMeter. You can plan in a better way so that you can achieve what you expect. So you can even reduce this ramp up time, so that yeah, it's possible. Nobody can say that it's impossible. So you can even do the stress test. So, but apart from that, you can use this arrival thread group for four different performance testing. So the first part is the capacity planning. So you can determine the system's capacity to handle a steady influx of transactions over time. So by setting up the arrival thread to match the expected real world scenario, you can gauge the system's performance under typical usage conditions. And then the next part is the stability testing. So you can evaluate the system's stability by gradually increasing the arrival rate to observe how it responds to incremental loads like we did now. So this can help identify any performance bottlenecks or stability issues under increasing transaction volumes. And when it comes to endurance testing, so you can assess the system's ability to sustain a consistent level of activity over an extended period. So by configuring the arrival thread group to maintain a constant arrival rate for an extended duration, you can verify if the system can handle sustained usage without degradation or failure. And finally, when it comes to concurrency testing, you can validate the system's ability to handle multiple concurrent transactions while maintaining a steady arrival rate. So, by setting the concurrency level in alignment with the expected usage pattern, you can evaluate how the system performs under typical user loads. And you can also do that, like for example, you can set like 20 arrivals per minute. The ramp up time is going to be like 6 minutes. The ramp up count is going to be like 10, and then you're going to hold it for 60 minutes. So this will help you to do a proper load test, and at the end of the test, I have already told you, all the users will smoothly log out of the system. So however, for load testing or stress testing, where the goal is to assess the system's performance under heavy load or beyond its normal operating conditions, other thread groups like thread group or ultimate thread group are more suitable. I think even you can use this thread group as well, but apart from this, you can even use the thread group or ultimate thread group. So these allow you to simulate a large number of concurrent users or rapidly increasing load to push the system to its limits and identify performance thresholds and breaking points. So in case if you have any doubts, please do comment in the comment section. We'll do a quick catch up, and I believe this video would be very useful to you. So until I meet you in another different and interesting video, it's bye bye from Asant Shanmugam and Little's Law.